to go over some of the rolling out that we did in day one of the 3-day foam roller workshop. So on day one, we didn't get to re-go over the routine. So I wanted to go over some of the rolling portion of the day. And just so you have that second layered, and we're going to start with quad massage. And we can do this in a couple places. I'm going to show it on the floor and then I'm going to show it using the wall. Everything that we do won't be able to be done at the wall or the chair, but there's a few options. And so I'm going to start with the front of my quad, massaging here to roll out this area. I tend to sit in this position a lot, and I'm rolling out to give a little bit of massage and release and relief to this area of my body. And it's an area of the body that's closely related to my pelvis. So it's an area that I know, at least for me, I don't tend to stretch out as much like that. And so doing a little bit of rolling helps me before I would go into any sort of stretching. It also helps me mobilize. Um, with this next one, I'm rolling out pretty much from below my pelvis to the top of my knees. So that's kind of the area that I'm staying in. So the roller for me is going to start out below my pelvic bone area, and I'm going to have it on the ground. I'm going to come over the roller and I'm lowering it to it being, below, not up at the top or right on, but below my pelvis. And then I'm coming over the roller here. I can have my feet down, I could flex my feet, whatever's comfortable in this position. And I have my arms out in front of me. I can adjust my pelvis or where it is on my legs. And then I have a few options here with how I have my leg positioned. Right now, they're parallel. My feet are pointing down. I can do some rolling here. So I'm going to pull into my hands and pull myself forward and come up. And I'm going to the top of my knees with that rolling, and I'm staying with the parallel position of my legs. I can do a few here. I recommend doing around 6 to 8 of those, seeing how they feel, and then going into external. So my toes are pointed out and away from my upper leg bone all the way to my feet. This just helps me get into a different area of my quads. So I'm in external. I'm going to go up and down. This one I get a lot of feedback, especially right above the knee in the vastus medialis area, the VMO. And this just really helps me overall. I have long-term knee pain from having issues with cartilage and other things going on with my knee. I had knee trauma before. And so this really helps me with things like that. And then I'm going to try the next leg position. So I'm going in internal. I kind of have to adjust my legs. This one's really intense for me. I can't do very many. I say that 6 to 8 thing, and I use that loosely because ultimately you should do what works for your body and back off and don't do it if it doesn't feel great. And so I'm in that internal and I'm doing a few here. And I'm noticing kind of like what's the difference between my feelings when I'm in this parallel, when I'm external, or when I'm internal. And I'm doing the massaging up and down and taking a moment to build awareness in my body of what I'm feeling in what area. So continue to do the rolling on that part of your quads a couple more times if you would like to do that. But know that that is in your toolbox. We can do that same thing over by the wall. So I'm not going to be readjusting the camera, but you'll be able to see how I'm on the wall. I'm going to show you real quick. So I'm going to have the roller down on the front of my quad area. And with this one, I might have to adjust a few times. I might have to stay down lower and then come up because my range of motion is going to be different here than on the floor. So I'm going to be facing the wall. And for me to be able to do this, I need to do one leg at a time. So I'm leaning, I'll show you forward. So I'm leaning into the roller and the wall, but my other leg is back. So the leg that I'm going to be moving and lifting is into the wall. So I'm going to turn and face the wall. I have that on the wall. For me, I need to kind of grip the wall. And the leg that's forward is the one I'm rolling out that part of the quad on the wall. The other leg is back. And then I might have to adjust, especially if I want to do internal, external. The foam roller could roll away from us. All of those are totally fine. We'll just pick it up and keep going. And then go to the other side. What's really great is trying these both out and both range of motion and both kind of where you are elevated on the ground or standing, and see what that feels like in your own body. And what's even another thing to mention is that something might feel really good on one day and maybe not on another. So it's good to revisit those. So we're going next to our shin massage. And this is us being in an all fours position over the front of the roller. So we could be here with our hands down underneath our shoulders, and our feet, our shins are on top of the rollers, our feet are pointed out and away, and we're pulling in from our knees and at our hips. So this is a strengthener for the back and the shoulders and other parts of our body, and it's also rolling out our shins. Another place that we could do this is still here, but maybe we put our chair in front of us and we use the chair to be raised up a little bit higher. And this is a fun place to try out sort of these dynamic plank moments, because I'm opening up my hips a lot here. And that's a lot of rolling out from the front of the shins for me. You can continue going with that. Know that that's something that you can revisit. And then we're going to go into our calf massage, so the back of our leg. And we're going to have a few different options here. So I'm going to put my chair off to the side and I'll be using it again soon. And I'm going to be sitting down, and I have my roller in front of me and my calf is on top of it. And this is to relieve the back of the leg. We're doing a lot of standing and sitting and walking and moving in different ways constantly. And this part of our leg, it's just giving it a little bit of extra love. So I have my other leg and it's a little bit off to the side. And I can go with one leg bending and straightening at the knee to start. And maybe I want to, instead of doing each version on one leg, I'm going to switch and do the other leg. So you can see that I keep my leg out and away from me, and I'm going into that rolling. And I can go internal with that knee, and I can go external. So more of that internal, external, playing around, figuring out what you feel. We can also add a little bit to that. My hands are going behind me because I need that leverage, and the other leg will be on top of the left leg. So I have my right leg on top of my left, and I'm lifting up a little bit to get some movement. I can also keep my hips down, and that leg pressing adds a little bit more to it. It adds a little bit more umph. If you'd like to add a little bit more umph, then that's the lifting. And even though you're rolling out your legs, you're getting a lot of upper body and upper back strengthening, because we're holding ourselves up in these different positions. So that is another thing that's available to you. A good thing to be is like sitting up on a bolster may help. Maybe just feel better. And I really like to find ways to make things more comfortable for me as I'm moving and figuring out what area this feels good to do this in. So I'm going to show the hamstring massage in a couple places, because we can do this sitting in our chair. We can do it sitting here. So a lot of times I see the hamstring massage with people like this, lifting their hips and staying in this kind of U shape. This doesn't always feel that accessible to be in that shape. So I like to move my roller to one side so I have room for one of my legs, and I'm putting this under my back of my hamstring, and I'm going forward and back. Right now my leg's in a parallel position, and I'm going to go into a little bit of that inner thigh, but it's still focusing on my hamstrings. And then I'm going to go a little bit in external, and I'm going to do that same kind of scooting back and forth to do the other side. And so it's a little bit different than holding yourself up. but it's still a lot of that same motion. And you can do the same thing that you did with the other, and you can add another leg, and it adds a little bit more um, onto it. So it adds a little bit more kind of resistance or opposition. And then we can do that same thing in our chair. It's a little strange to sit on the chair on the foam roller. So I recommend having a wall nearby or just kind of practicing how it feels. I'm pretty short, so my feet barely are on the ground when I sit here. Like it would be pretty easy to lift my feet off. If I just lean back a little bit, they're not going to be on the floor. So this is pretty high up for me. So I have a foldable chair where I can hold on. You could do this in on a couch or on your bed or anywhere. It will be even more wobbly. So this is a sturdy kind of hard material. If you put this on a couch or something like that, there's going to be a lot more instability. So that's something to keep in mind. And then I'm right on my butt, which is great if I'm getting into my butt and my rotators. But right now, I'm getting more into my hamstrings. So I'm going to roll this down into my hamstring area. And then I'm doing a little bit of rolling. But do you notice? So when I'm here, I don't have a lot of room underneath me. So I'm going to roll out one area and then I'm going to roll it down slightly to go a little bit further with that. More scooting. And then I can do that even more if I'd like. Whew. And I'm going to be careful in this position for me. And then I'm going to get off of that. And so that's the same hamstring rolling that I was doing on the ground, but focusing on one side, and then doing that here on top of the chair. So I'm going to move the chair out of the way for now. And we're going to go into our inner thigh massage. And our inner thigh massage is going to be a place where we can end up taking that into a spine stretch. So I'm on my side, laying on my side, sort of sitting up, and I have the foam roller in front of me. My other arm is on it. I'm going to bend my knee and put it on it. And maybe I come down more. I could hold myself up with my hand. I could lay on my arm, whatever feels comfortable. We could grab a pillow here. And at first, I'm going to push forward and roll the inside of this thigh while my chest comes down towards the floor. And then I'm going to roll back and I can let that arm go back for a moment and I can go into a spine twist if I want to. If I want to focus more on the rolling of the inner thigh area, then stay here and focus more on the rolling. But know that you can add a little bit of that spine twist, and especially that spine moving forward. That's when I feel like I have a little bit more resistance pressing down to get more of the inner thigh massage. And then I'm going to go to the other side. So, with a lot of these movements, they're meant to relax you and to help with the mobilization that you're going to work on when you're doing your strengthening work. It's going to relax that area, create a little bit more proprioception and feedback around that area. And I'm going to do the other side. Maybe it can even lead to some relief. I really think that rolling is something to accompany with some strengtheners. And what's really great here is I just had an experience where I'm rolling out the top, but I actually got a little bit of rolling out in the front of my hip and quad on my leg that's on the floor. And that's just a little bit of a moment for me where I'm checking in and going, oh, I should roll out the front of my quads a little bit more at some point. And it's just giving me a little bit of feedback in my body that I get to decide ultimately what I do with that information. So the next thing I'm going to do is sit on top of the roller. So I'm sitting on top of the roller here. We could sit on the chair as well. There's options to do that. And I'm letting my feet be a little bit further away from me because I want to move my butt, the roller underneath my butt, and my upper body needs to counterbalance. So as I'm moving, I'm counterbalancing my weight in my body. And here is when I'm going to lean over to my right side, and I'm going to do a little bit more rolling, still going up and down, back and forth. But after I find a place that feels like a little bit more feedback, I'm going to go back and forth, scooting this way horizontally instead of up and down vertical. So I'm going back and forth, and then I'm going to stop that for a moment. I like to roll a little bit more in the middle before I'm leaning to the other side, and I'm doing a little bit of rolling, and then I decide, okay, here's where I'm going to do my back and forth horizontal motion as well. So I'm doing that rolling, and I get to decide there if I want to do a bit more, get a little bit deeper into the side of this back part of my glute med. This is a place for me where I need a little bit more mobilizing and feedback. So I'll massage there a little bit longer. And sometimes that means for me that even though I'm sitting, maybe I need to bring my arm down and get a little bit more in this angle where my legs are out. The leg I'm leaning towards is long, the other leg is bent, and I sort of have a scooped position. And one arm is helping me as well as this leg in the back. So it's this opposite arm and leg that are really doing the work here, but I'm getting the rollout sensation here. And then I can do that on the other side, or I can reach the arm behind me. I can switch that arm back and I can go into my rolling. And you can see now that this leg is really doing a lot here. And same with this arm. And then I'm coming back up. We can do that too on the wall. It's just a little bit different because you got to lean forward a lot. And it's going to be a thing where you drop it. You drop the roller, That's okay. You pick the roller back up and you go back into your Yogi Bear moment. And I'm getting a little bit leaning this side. And you can also do this same thing on the chair as I talked about a little bit ago. So that's what I wanted you to learn about. And then I have a couple strengthener like movements that I think would be great too. We're going to do some lunges. So I'm standing in front of my foam roller. I'm taking my right leg and I'm bringing it back behind. Well, first off, I'm actually feeling a little bit dizzy. It's pretty hot. I'm bringing my chair over here just in case I need it. So my chair is near me. I have one hand on my chair and my right leg is on the roller. It's the top of my foot facing down. And I'm bending my left leg as I'm letting my right leg go down. And then I'm going to press into my left as I come up. And I'm lowering and lifting, lowering down and lifting up. I'm going to go down again and I'm going to come all the way down because I want to take this into a plank-like movement. So I'm going to come all the way down. And I'm going to bring my hands down in front of me and I'm going to decide if I would like to bring my leg back and then lower the legs, bring the legs in. I'm going to bring my right leg forward and I'm putting my hand on my chair and I'm coming back up. And then I'm going into my lunges and lifting back up. This is another way that you could roll out the front of your shins. And it's also very much a strengthener. So let's go all the way down again. Hands go in front, leg goes to the roller. We can press out and come back in. So those are the rolling out techniques that we didn't get a chance to revisit a second time on our first day. And I wanted to make sure that we had a chance to check those movements out, see how they feel in our body, and remember kind of what were the rolling things that we did, because we did so many strengtheners on that first day. So this is a chance to revisit those, massage out your body, build some proprioception, figure out where you like doing the rolling at. So I hope this was a really fun explorative moment for you. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I'm really excited to move with you more. Bye.